Welcome to TNT Takes. This is Tyler Schoonover. I'm here with Trey Sizemore. We are coming with another pod all about the playoffs, the conference finals, and on to the finals. So, starting with the conference finals recap, I have a question for you. Was this the most unentertaining conference finals you can remember?
I'm not going to say that because
Or did you like it?
I actually liked watching the Clippers and Suns with just Paul George and see what they could do. I like that. But I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't pay attention to the Hawks and Bucks. I didn't care to watch any of the games.
I struggled to get through the entire games of any series, honestly. I mean, there was a couple of good games with the Suns and the Clippers, but you just knew that the Suns were going to pull that one out because of no Kawhi.
Yeah.
I was hoping Kawhi would make a comeback, but
I get what you're saying. Out of all the ones we've seen in a while, it was one of those boring playoffs. But it was also interesting seeing a non-super team make it.
It's fine to have this occasionally, like every few years. But I think that it's just more fun to pay attention to conference finals or even the finals now when there's an actual superstar in there. Chris Paul's good, Devin Booker's good, Giannis is good, but I don't like the way he plays. I don't like watching him. But there's no like superstars. Like it's fun seeing a Kevin Durant in the finals. It's fun seeing a Kawhi Leonard. It's fun seeing LeBron James, of course. But yeah, it's just fun. Steph Curry. It's fun seeing those stars in there, and it's just missing that. And I think it's hard for me to get entertained by it. So for me, it's been one of the most boring conference finals that I can remember. I think maybe even the bubble was more entertaining.
The bubble was a lot more entertaining to me, but of course I'm a Heat fan, so it was a lot more entertaining to me.
I felt like I could watch the games more during the bubble. I mean,
it felt more intense.
Like even the games,
even if the Suns and Clippers in the bubble, I felt like even the Suns they made a run to try to get in the bubble tournament. It was just more entertaining with the bubble than it was now.
Yeah, I think it's nice having the fans back in, but I don't know. I think it's just missing that star power. It was fun watching a little Cinderella team like the Suns, try to make it into the playoffs. But I just felt like
it does miss having a big star.
This year, you're just missing something.
Like people like you, they're like, hey, who's in the finals? Oh, the Bucks and Giannis. Like you're just like, oh, like you hear Durant, you hear LeBron, you hear Kawhi. You're just like, all right, yeah, because Giannis, he does one thing. He just gets back to the basket and just drives.
Yep. But yeah, the Suns ended up beating the Clippers in 6. Paul George did what he could. It's kind of tough to beat a team without Kawhi. It was just too much to overcome. Chris Paul making his first NBA Finals.
Okay,
I know we talked about. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go. Finish what you're saying.
Okay. I know we talked about where he ranks on the all-time point guards, and so I wanted to ask if this bumps him up, or where do you have him at right now?
He's in my top 5, but I said he was on the bubble to be in the 5. Then I think him making it to finals has him as my 4 or 5-ish range.
I have him on the edge of 5. It's between because I have Steph, Magic, Nash, and Jason Kidd in my top 5 for sure. Just because Jason Kidd is kind of biased for me, but I grew up watching him. I mean, you could throw Oscar Robertson, but I think if you throw Oscar Robertson, you got to throw Westbrook, and I don't think Westbrook's there just because I think Westbrook is in that top 10 range.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in that top 5. Gary Payton could be thrown up there, but I don't think he's in the top 5. But I think that 5th spot's a fight between Chris Paul and John Stockton. They're both really high IQ players.
I had Chris Paul as my 4, Stockton as my 5, and Kidd is not in the top 5. I like his Kidd, but you're a Nets fan, so that's why you had him a little higher.
Possibly. But yeah, I think Kidd, of course, has more to possess on defense. He was a good defender.
Oh yeah, he was definitely one of my favorite all time.
He's got that ring. He does have that ring.
Yeah, he was definitely one of my favorite all time because he played defense. I like true point guards who are going to go out and pass too. I like Steph, but he's looking to shoot. Like I like the true point guards like Lonzo Ball now. Like I like that type of point guard who can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think that it's a fight for me between Paul and Stockton. I haven't quite decided, but of course, if Paul wins here, you got to put him above Stockton with that one ring that Stockton can never get.
Yeah.
Even though it is against the Milwaukee Bucks, it's kind of we'll get into what would have happened with no injuries later though.
Yeah.
So
But what I was gonna say, so we both discussed this on Snapchat a couple days ago, watching Kendrick Perkins on TV, and he came out saying that after that fight, Paul George is now a top 5 player in the NBA.
It's not.
And I was watching 3 podcasts where I'm not gonna lie, they were naming 20 players better than Paul George.
I was gonna say I could put Paul George in my top 20 probably.
I could put him between the 15 to 20 range in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way he's top 5.
No, I mean you can name 5 players better than him right now. We were naming them last pod.
Yeah.
We named all 5 that were better than him. Kawhi is better than him.
Yeah. He tried saying he's better than Jimmy Butler. He's better. I'm like, I'd take Jimmy Butler over Paul George. Paul George might be a better scorer, but I'd much rather have Jimmy Butler on my team than Paul George.
Yeah, right now at the because the way the season ended.
Yeah, the way the season ended.
I'd have Paul George above Jimmy Butler, but he's not even close to the top 5 range. Jimmy Butler and him are still in the top 20. It's just somewhere in that 15 to 20 range, probably, like you said. But while we're on the subject of Paul George and Kawhi, is it time to split them up? Do you think Kawhi might be leaving?
I think Kawhi is coming to South Beach to team up with Jimmy Butler and Kawhi. He's going to be Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Bam Adebayo. It's over.
I don't think so. I think that he stays. He has what he wants. He wants to be the top dog, and he wants to be at home. He wants to be catered to, and Clippers do that. The Clippers do whatever Kawhi wants. He's at home. He gets to be the star of the team, and they're fighting for a championship appearance every year. Should be every year if they stay together. But yeah, I think that they are probably just looking for one more piece to add to it. And if they get that piece, I mean, even if it's just a decent player, like I read that they're looking at getting Kevin Love, trying to get Kevin Love. I'm sure that it'd be tough with the salaries. They might have to either trade somebody like a Marcus Morris or hope that he gets bought out.
Yeah,
Kevin Love gets bought out, hopefully. But so if they get that, then I think that Kawhi will definitely resign. But I think that they're going to try to get somebody to persuade him to make sure that he stays, and I think he ends up staying. Back to the Suns. Now that the Suns have beaten the Clippers, who do you think was the MVP of the Western Conference Finals?
See, I want to say I'm going to go with Chris Paul because of how he ended it. Even though he missed a game, did he miss 1 or 2 games, something like that?
I think he missed 2.
That's why I could say Devin Booker. That's why I can say Ayton at times. But I think Chris Paul is what really puts him over the edge, and for that last game, because Beverly had Booker on locks a lot.
I don't have Devin Booker in the running just because of course he's in the running because there's only a few amount of players you can select. But top 2, I don't have him in my top 2. Just because he had that 40-point first game, and then after that he averaged like 22 and on 30%.
On locks a lot. Beverly put him on locks a lot. When Beverly was on him, it was hard to
I don't think that he is. I think that he's good, and I think that I'm sure that the nose had something to do with it. Him getting hit in the nose.
I think he was trying too hard.
Probably
trying to carry a team. He was forcing shots.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that the Western Conference Finals MVP is probably Chris Paul, just because of the way, like you said, Game 7 or Game 6, he just ended that, and then with him, they were clearly a better team with him than they were without him. But I think that DeAndre Ayton does have a case, though.
That's what I was saying. Ayton Morris too, and then
because he brings something that they don't have. Like when Chris Paul was out, Cameron Payne kind of stepped up. They still won a game without him. I think without Ayton, who do they throw at center? I mean, it's just I don't think they would have a exactly. I don't think that they would have won that series without Ayton. I think they could have taken it to 7 without Paul. I don't think they win without Paul. But yeah, I think that it's just you can kind of replace Chris Paul. You can kind of replace Booker because he's a scorer, but I don't think you can replace what Ayton brought to the table.
While we're on DeAndre Ayton, I was on TikTok earlier, and one of my favorite podcasts is this girl on TikTok. I don't know if you've ever seen her, but she's like legit. Like I like the way she talks about everything. And she brought up DeAndre Ayton, and after this playoff run, she solidifies him as a top 5 center in the NBA. What is your opinion on Ayton?
I'm trying to think. I know that obviously the top 2 are Embiid and Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
After
And me
that,
personally, I have personally Bam at 3.
I think Bam and Towns are probably in there, but
Me
I don't
4.
see a
I have
problem with
4.
throwing Aiton as a
I had Ayton
possibility.
as 5th before Gobert. That's what I had.
Yeah, I think that it's a. I mean, if you're putting Bam in there, I think that he's pretty close to Bam's level offensively. I don't know
I just think Bam's
defensively, probably
all-around
not.
game puts him above Ayton. I think they
Because
are both the same offense. I think Bam's better defensive-wise. That's what puts him ahead.
Bam is better defensive wise because he can guard more than one position. I think Aiton's more of the rim protector, and Bam's more of the I can guard a guard on the switch
Yeah.
too, you know. And so that's what I like about Bam. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with somebody. I can't argue that he's not a top 5,
Mm-hmm.
but I can say that he's in the mix for sure.
Yeah, off the top of my head, out of who we named, had who my top 5 is. But I'm probably missing somebody off the top of my head. Just can't think of it right now. But
Possibly. I don't know. Nicholas Claxton?
boo.
All right, we'll move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Bucks beat the Hawks in 6. Question: do you think the Bucks are legit, or are they just lucky with the injuries that happened throughout this whole
They got
playoffs?
lucky because they were supposed to lose first round.
They did get lucky. I'm not going to say the Suns didn't get lucky, but yeah, like we said, we'll get into that because
Yeah.
of we're going to talk about that. What do you think the Hawks need to do this offseason to come back next year and actually have a chance?
Like we talked about the Hawks, they have probably the best role players around Trae Young in the NBA.
They have a lot.
Their
Like
depth
their
is
bench.
amazing.
Their bench comes in and is like another just solid 5. You
Exactly.
know,
But
it's
in
a
my
bunch of role
opinion,
players.
they need another star. Put one more star on that team.
I
If
have that
that's
too.
trying to trade for Bradley Beal, if
I
that's
have that exact
somehow
thing.
somehow running after and trying to get Kawhi Leonard, just somebody. I don't ever see Kawhi going to Atlanta, but like if you can
No,
get a star
but
power player,
I think, like you're saying, with all their role players, they can make a trade to somebody.
yeah.
Somebody will do a
John
deal
Collins
probably.
for a while was not happy with his role for how they had Trae Young as a star. John Collins, he's a young, athletic 4 who can also play the 5. Solid rim runner. He's good at defense inside the paint. I think you can easily make a trade for him and some picks and maybe another role player for Bradley Beal.
See, what I have is I have Reddish, Herter, Gallinari, and some picks to Washington for Beal. But I said that they need to re-sign John Collins because he is a free agent, and then they need to get a Beal. I think re-signing John Collins is probably the best power forward you can grab out of the,
Oh yeah, he's one of my
especially
favorite
since
power
he's
forwards
got
in the league.
that.
Just I just like that how he plays. He's such an athletic dude.
Yeah, he is super athletic. They
And
have
he
him and
can shoot.
Capella, who
He's
are
got
both
a
really
decent
athletic,
shot.
long, great rim protectors and rebounders. It's huge to
Yeah.
have both of them. But yeah, he can shoot a little bit too, and I think they need to re-sign him. Plus, he knows the system. It's helpful to have him. Nate McMillan came in and really turned that team around. So I think everybody was happy by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be happy when you make it to the Eastern Conference
Yeah,
Finals
exactly.
when you were a 12 seed a few months ago. But yeah, I think that they should re-sign Collins and then focus on getting another star. And I think Reddish has a lot of upside. I think Herter kind of makes people excited because he can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He can kind of, I mean, he's another young guy too. And then Gallinari is a solid role player.
I like Gallinari a lot.
Then you got to give him some picks too. It's going to take a lot to get Beal. I don't know if that's going to do it though.
That's definitely one of the better options out there, like for offers they could get because you got youth, and the Hawks have a decent amount of picks. There's not a lot of teams that can actually give up as much like players as the Hawks can. I think, in my opinion, the Hawks, the Hornets, and the Pelicans are one of like the 3 younger teams who have a lot of young, good talent. But out of those 3 teams, the only one making a play for Beal would be the Hawks.
Yeah, I think you got to also ask the Wizards which one would you rather have, Reddish or Hunter. They
Mm-hmm.
might say Hunter, but Hunter seems more injury prone.
I think after the injuries, you'd rather have Reddish than Hunter.
Possibly. But yeah, whichever one they let you keep one of them because they're both kind
Mm-hmm.
of interchangeable, lengthy shooters that
Yeah.
can play, defense. Um, but yeah, we'll keep it going with the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go with the MVP of the series.
I got to give it to Middleton.
Yep, me too. I don't. Oh shit! I don't know if he's. I mean, he's not the best player on the
Mm-hmm.
team, but when Giannis goes down and he still led him to victory, it's just.
Well, even when Giannis was playing, he said, "I'm giving the ball to Middleton to finish out the game." Like
Yep.
people, how come when LeBron did that for Kyrie, people are bashing LeBron, but they're not going to say one word about Giannis?
No, because Giannis isn't going to be considered the greatest of all
They're saying he's
time, at
one of
least
the
for
tops in the
now.
league right now.
I know. Right now he should, yeah. But there's just a different standard for LeBron James. No matter what, there's always something that he could do better.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they gotta criticize LeBron at any chance they can. But yeah, I have Middleton too. He only averaged 24 points per game. He averaged 29 when Giannis went down. But he had a couple of bad games in there, like a 15-pointer, a couple of 15-pointers, a 16-pointer. But yeah, that team just has lots of inconsistencies, starting with Budenholzer. That dude can't make an adjustment.
Oh, yeah.
But they made it to the finals, so
I think him going to the finals is what's saving his job, in my opinion.
So you're saying injuries is saving his job?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into the finals.
Saving his job.
Get into the finals then. Bucks versus Suns. Let's start with who do you think is gonna win?
I got the Suns.
I'll take the Bucks, I think, but we'll move on to that. Who do you want to win?
I want the Suns to win.
I want the Suns to win, but I'm thinking the Bucks. They have more star power, in my opinion. Even though they're really inconsistent, they do have more star power.
Yeah,
but we'll go game by game. Game 1, which is underway right now. Who you got?
Game 1, since Giannis is playing, I'm gonna go Bucks. Game 1.
I actually have Suns game 1. Bucks rarely win that game 1. They seem to lose it every single season. They lost it to the Nets. They lost it to the Hawks. The only reason why they didn't lose it to the Heat was because of Middleton's lucky shot.
Yeah.
At the last second, but they did take you. I mean, that was the only close game of the whole series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they struggle in game 1.
We're off that. Let's go.
Yeah, we are. But they struggle game 1. They do struggle game 1. So I'm going to give this one to the Suns. Game 2, I have the Bucks.
Game 2, I have Suns.
Okay, so you got 1-1 going into Milwaukee. We both have 1-1 going into Milwaukee. And then I had the Bucks taking game 3 as well, taking 2 and 3.
I got Suns taking 3.
Okay, and then game 4, I had the Suns.
Game 4, I have Suns again.
So you had the Suns going up 3-1.
Yep.
And going back into Phoenix for game 5, I had the Suns going up 3-2.
I have the Bucks.
So you have the Bucks making it 3-2.
Yep.
In game 6, I have the Bucks. And so it's going to be 3-3.
Yep, I have Bucks game 6, and I have Suns winning at game 7.
Man. I had the Bucks winning game 7 to making it 4-3.
I said Suns.
Milwaukee 7, right? Win. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So then you have
4-3.
The Suns. Yeah, okay. I have the Bucks in 7, but I have the Bucks on game 6 just because it's back in Milwaukee. Game 5 is back in Phoenix, so I have the Suns in that one. Game 7 is back in Phoenix, but I still take the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with the MVP prediction. Who do you got?
I've got Chris Paul. For how much the story's riding, I've got Chris Paul.
I think if the Bucks win, they're going to give it to Giannis. I think if the Suns
win, it's going
to
be Giannis. If Suns, yeah, Chris Paul.
So I think that. So of course I have Giannis. Let's get into the matchups a little bit. Jrue Holiday versus Chris Paul. Obviously, Chris Paul is the better player, offensively for sure. Jrue Holiday is a way better defender, and so I think that every single
Chris
person.
Paul's defense is underrated, in my opinion.
I saw him get broke twice last series. Okay,
he's not gonna stay up and lock everybody like the entire game, but when it comes down to it, he's gonna lock him in. Like he's gonna show it when it matters for defense.
I think so. A lot of people get a bad defensive rap, like Kyrie for some reason, just because he's short. He literally put some effort out on defense, so I liked watching him defensively this year. But yeah, Chris Paul is not anywhere on Jrue Holiday's level defensively, though.
Yeah,
but they probably do end up guarding each other throughout the game.
So yeah, I think they're gonna have Jrue on Devin Booker a lot.
I think they can throw Middleton on Booker, but
see, I was thinking they were gonna have Middleton in like the 3-4 range, just like having more of an offensive focus than defense, and they were gonna.
Yeah, but who do they throw on Chris Paul?
I could see them possibly even putting PJ Tucker on Chris Paul.
Maybe. I don't know.
You think Chris Paul's
I think they'd rather do Jrue on Chris and then PJ on Booker.
Yeah.
If you want Middleton off of Booker to get for offensive purposes, and then Giannis would have to.
I think if you're Giannis,
they'll probably put Lopez on Ayton.
Lopez seems, but if you're Giannis, I'm also proving that you can stop Ayton and want to guard Ayton.
Yeah, I'd rather put Giannis on Ayton because they're going to screen with Ayton, and when they screen with Ayton, you can't have Brook Lopez backing his ass into the paint.
But then you got Brook Lopez on Jay Crowder, which Jay Crowder is more athletic than Brook Lopez.
Yeah, that's true. But that's why I think Middleton on Booker and PJ on Crowder. Yeah. But I think if you when you set that screen, you have Lopez guarding whoever it is. He backs up every time. He backs into the paint. And against a team that shoots mid-range like Chris Paul and Devin Booker, the series is over if they do that all.
That's what I'm saying. The biggest matchup differential is going to be Brook Lopez. Like, they can take a huge advantage on Brook Lopez.
I think Brook Lopez will be fine guarding Ayton. It's that
switch. When they do the switch. Just like when the Heat got screwed, when the Bucks did a lot of switches and Bam was getting off of him and Giannis was on Trevor Ariza. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think it'll be a good series though, but I'm not going to be so interested in it though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
I'll probably turn off this close game, but I'm not just going to stay and watch the whole game.
I know that's the tough part. Is I didn't even care. I almost watched the match over the game one. I almost watched Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady the golf thing.
I couldn't.
I was watching that for a little bit. I almost chose that over this, but yeah, it's just not as entertaining as if there was a star involved.
Yeah.
So we're gonna remake the playoffs as if there was no injuries, and we'll go series by series on who do you think would win and if anything would change, and just the things like that on why they would change or why they wouldn't change. So we'll start with the Jazz versus the Grizzlies in round one. I think the Jazz still winning 4-5. No, there was no significant injuries. Mitchell missed the game one that they lost. That's why I say possibly 4. It might have been a sweep if Mitchell was there all series.
Yeah.
You got the same thing? We got the Clippers against the Mavs. There really wasn't that much injuries there either, but Ibaka went down early, so it could have been a 6-game series.
Yeah.
But I have 6-7. Mavs might have done a little better if Luka wasn't slightly hurt, but he still played his ass off. He's not going to change much. I have Clippers in 6-7. You have Clippers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Clippers in 6-7. Nuggets and Blazers. Who you got?
I have the Nuggets with no injuries.
Yeah, Jamal Murray makes them win in probably 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think they win even less than because they won in 6. I think.
Yeah,
they'll win in 5. Lakers and Suns.
I have Lakers with no injuries.
I do too. In the first 3 games, AD was healthy. They won 2 out of those 3, and everybody thought the series was over. Everybody assumed the Lakers were about to win this series, and then AD goes down in game 4, and it just completely changes. I think the Lakers win in probably 6, maybe 7. If it just depends if AD with AD completely healthy though, I think they.
No injuries. Like if injuries were off, like we were playing 2K and stuff, I'd have the Lakers in probably 5.
Yeah, possibly. Move on to the East. Sixers still beat the Wizards in 5. There was no really injuries there, and leaving it at that. Hawks and Knicks. I didn't see any injuries.
I still got Hawks.
Mitchell Robinson would have been there for the.
Yeah, but Knicks, I still got Hawks.
Yeah, I think the Hawks still probably beat them in 5-6. Bucks and Heat. It's not a sweep. Victor Oladipo makes a difference. It's not going to be a sweep, but I still have the Bucks taking them out. I can't say that the Heat are just going to all of a sudden shoot better because there is no injuries. So I still got the Bucks, but I'd probably say 6.
Yeah, I have the Heat in 6. I think a completely healthy team also changes the mindset of how you play. I think Hero's taking less shots if Victor Oladipo's healthy, but same thing with like Kendrick Nunn. I think he doesn't play a lot if Victor Oladipo's healthy either.
Yeah. Obviously, I still think the Nets beat the Celtics, even though they have Jaylen Brown.
Oh yeah, Nets.
I still say 5-6. We'll move on to the second round. We have Clippers and Jazz, and Lakers and Nuggets. Clippers, I think, still end up beating the Jazz.
I have
they'd have Ibaka. They'd have a healthy Kawhi series. I think they'd probably be in 5 or 6. Lakers and Nuggets. What you think?
I got Lakers winning that one too.
I got Lakers in 4, even with Murray. 4-5, 5 maybe. So then we'll go Hawks and Sixers.
I gotta go Sixers. A fully healthy Embiid still. He wasn't even healthy when he was playing him.
No, he wasn't healthy, but his numbers look like it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I think it would still go to 6 to 7, probably 7. It'd probably still go 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that. I mean, it's not like Simmons was injured though. Simmons just sucks.
Yeah.
So it's still tough to say that the Sixers would turn that around. I mean, maybe.
I think it's a tough one. I could see going either way in 7, but I think a fully healthy Embiid, yeah, his numbers are still great. But I think he put also more on the defensive end too. Fully healthy.
Yeah, we can throw the Sixers though. It doesn't matter whichever team loses.
Either way, they're losing the next round. So.
And Nets beat Bucks, I say, in 5 or 6.
Nets beat Heat in 7 by a game winner by KD.
7?
Yep.
Man.
Gotta do it.
All right. So that means the conference finals, we got Lakers and Clippers like it should be. And I think the Lakers and Clippers probably go 7. And then since LeBron's playing, I got to go LeBron's side in 7 games. He doesn't lose game 7s. I'm going LeBron. And the Lakers go to the finals.
I got Lakers in 6.
And then Nets and either Sixers or Hawks, whichever one you want to choose.
I got Nets in 4.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Nets beat either of them in 4 to 5. And then Nets versus Lakers, I think you might say something different, but I'm saying the Nets win in 5 to 6.
I got Lakers in 7.
That's a tough one.
I got Lakers.
But yeah, I think that I mean, this goes a lot different with injuries, but you could say that about almost any year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, of course, if Kevin Durant doesn't get hurt that one year, then the Warriors win it all again.
If Chris Paul don't get hurt in the Western Conference Finals, they knock out the Warriors.
Maybe.
I'm
not going to say for sure. I have
it.
Because you can't count out Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Durant. But yeah, it's just injuries play a part, and it just sucks that there were so many this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's one team that loses and then loses out, but there's usually always a star-studded team that still makes it.
I'm like with LeBron on this. There was too short of an offseason for how long the season was. I don't care what anybody, like Kenneth Perkins and all them talking bad about LeBron, saying you're an athlete, you should be used to it. LeBron had like 8 weeks before the season turned right back around?
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough time for a whole season.
Plus, he wasn't, he got hurt during the regular season, and it was still carrying over to the playoffs. AD has been kind of injury prone his whole career, though. It's just that last year he was healthy and had those 3 months off and took it to the finals. But I think the Nets just, even with just Kyrie, we beat the Bucks, which means we probably beat the Hawks still. And who knows, Harden is healthy for the finals.
Yeah.
It's just that Kyrie had to roll his ankle on somebody's foot. It sucks. But we'll just go on to some NBA news. Just a couple things that I've read and heard. I already brought one up. The Clippers possibly eyeing Kevin Love. What do you think that does to them? You think that brings them to finals contention, or do you think that?
Let's see. Like, if they get Kevin Love, I don't think they. Is Ibaka a free agent, or is he on the team for another year?
I'm not too sure. I think they only signed him 1 year.
See, if they get Love, they don't get Ibaka, and that's a big defensive change from Love and Ibaka. And it's a defensive-minded team. But I do think it gives them more of a jump depending on what the other West teams do. I guess they're still being a finals team, even with Kevin Love. Kevin Love's a 3rd star like he was in Cleveland. I think it helps him.
He's just
I think he'll try. I think he'll try harder too if he goes to a better team.
Yeah, he'll be like he was with the Cavs, just ready to be that role player that can hit the 3 and rebound and be smart out there. But I think that he has to stay healthy no matter what he does. His injuries are just piling up. Seems like every year he's out 50 games.
Yeah.
But another one I heard was Kuzma in a 1st to the Thunder for Kemba. So the Lakers get the point guard. They might,
I like that. If I'm the Lakers, I like it. And I get the whole flip of the Thunder wanting 1st-round picks. Like, I get that.
Yep.
But I don't know. If that's on the table, I'm taking it if I'm the Lakers. If I'm the Thunder, I'd ask for maybe THT.
Maybe. I think that's kind of a big piece that they might want to keep. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know what the Lakers are thinking, but it's not bad. They get a young Kuzma with Shea and then all these picks that they have and the other young guys they have. So
if you're the Lakers, do you rather do Kuzma and a first for Kimba, or Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and a first for Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield. That's 2 huge contracts. I'd probably say Bagley and Hield.
Yeah, too.
Maybe you do that. I don't know. I'd rather keep KCP if I could.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just what I've been hearing. Heard something about a possible. I mean, I know Marcus Smart's contract. This will be his last year coming up on his contract, so Celtics might want to part ways with him. I was thinking maybe the Mavs. I saw a trade where Josh Richardson and Jalen Brunson go to the
I think
Celtics
I saw that one too.
for Marcus Smart. It's not bad. I think that the Mavs could get a little bit more for those two because Brunson really played well. He was a 6th-year candidate, kind of. Probably a top 5 candidate for 6th Man of the Year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a bad one. And then I hear DeRozan's gaining interest from the Mavs and the Lakers.
The Lakers, I don't think, have enough to.
Yeah, the Lakers have a lot of. Their name's in talks with everybody.
Yeah, but I don't see the Lakers have enough assets to get DeRozan.
He's a free agent, so they'd have to sign him.
Yeah, do they even have the money for that? I thought it had to be a sign and trade if they get DeRozan.
It might be, but they're going to be losing Schroeder, Harrell. Those were some pretty decent contracts they signed.
And I think Marc Gasol too.
Probably Mark, and then they can easily dump Kuzma somewhere and make some money there. Somebody wants to get him for something cheap.
If I'm DeRozan, I think him and the Mavs would be a really good fit.
I like him on the Mavs. I think it'd be nice.
He gets that mid-range game, let Luka control it, and
yep. Plus, it's just another guy that can draw foul, another guy that can take over, that can actually handle the ball.
I loved having him in fantasy. He had so many free throw attempts.
He had a good year this year too. He averaged like 21 and 6 and 6 or something. So, all-star caliber player there. I'm gonna start ending some of these pods with a crazy stat of the pod or some random stat that I saw. So I'm gonna ask you, out of all these players, who do you think had the most rebounds per game? DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, James Harden, or Russell Westbrook?
I'll go Westbrook.
Westbrook had more rebounds than Ayton, Embiid, and Giannis. And he had more assists than Chris Paul, Nikola Jokic, and Trae Young. He averaged more points than DeRozan, and I can't remember the other two, but still, he averaged more points.
I saw that one. That's why I chose Westbrook.
Crazy.
I saw it.
It's crazy to think that he did that, and he's still not even like considered for an All-NBA team. He's not, everybody. It's just his play style.
Westbrook
we know he's a stat.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to just pad your stats that much.
Yeah.
Or else more players will be doing it. He's athletic as hell.
He gives all his effort to get the stats. He's gonna go for every rebound.
He cares more about that than winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the Wizards are actually a good team for him.
Oh yeah.
To just do that stuff on. Is there anything else you wanted to add? I think that's all that I had for this pod.
Top of my head, I can't think of anything else. So.
No, we got a football one on the way. We could probably do that one pretty soon. I don't see why not. Rosters are almost basically set.
Probably do it next week if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
At least that first one we talked about.
Yeah, we can probably get to a football one next week while the finals are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Let those just roll on and bore people to sleep. And well, Bucks and 7. Let's go.
Suns and 7.
All right, we'll end it there.